this will be more of an exposure for me to go out and in and out of the country and talking to the foreigners when I was pretty young. So yeah, that actually created an interest in me. I was coming to US since 2000. So while I was working in India, so I was lucky to have the taste of both the cultures and the logistics world, I would say. But yes, it is very, very different than Indian market. And I would say logistics is more like a relationship business. So we tend to feel like, oh, we are a part of the same family. And lucky that my bosses, my superiors saw me that I could talk well with the customers, or not just cutting the documentation and going back to home, 9 to 5 job. So I believe in learning. I think I am a good listener and a good learner, and I would always say to everybody, before you speak, let the person who is sitting in front of you should speak and listen to him. Probably you can have a good idea about it. If it is a good success, yes, it's everybody's success, and if it is a failure, then I would like to lead it from the front. Yeah, hard skills, we are in a business which is in international commerce. We deal with a lot of laws, not just, so, but I wasn't, going to any third world country or something, but I knew this country so well for such a long time since I was traveling already. But yes, as I said, living was and touring is different. So, and I said in the beginning also, with the logistics, I could make a lot of connections worldwide. So when I came to US, I approached immediately. I informed everybody that this is where I am right now. Let's say from South America to the Southeast Asia, and everybody welcomed my move, and they immediately responded with some business opportunities. I was so lucky and excited about it. And where they can ship the goods and I can bring the value addition there, in which these sellers in India, if they want to sell, let's say on Amazon, and Amazon, it's not a buyer, it's a marketplace. So there were challenges for these sellers in India how to ship the goods to US, and without a consignee, without a buyer, bring their goods into US, consolidate everything into one location, and then we will do the deconsolidations and send it to various marketplaces of Amazon FCs, I would say, their fulfillment centers. Interesting. Our business logistic is a very, very challenging, since we are dealing with a lot of people in the world, a lot of cultures and communities, and if one is shut, the other one is open. So you're always up and running and expecting something to happen at somewhere in the global.
Welcome to the Logistics Spotlight. In today's Spotlight, we have Mr. Sanjay, Director Key Accounts, AJ Worldwide. Mr. Sanjay, we are very happy to have you. Thank you so much for being a part of today's Spotlight.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on the show.
So to begin with, I wanted to ask you a few questions on what are your roots and where do you come from?
I'm a Marwadi. I come from a Marwadi family from Rajasthan, but I grew up in Delhi in India, and my entire schooling in college and institute all happened in Delhi. Yeah, but originally we come from Rajasthan.
Okay, so you're currently in the US, right? So you're managing the AJ Worldwide from US.
Yes, I'm based in US, and I moved here in 2013, and I've been here since then with AJ Worldwide as a Director Key Account now.
Okay, so this spotlight is going to be quite different because we are taking it virtually. We wanted to have, Mr. Sanjay, spotlight, but we couldn't have him here, so we are catching up virtually. So
I can understand. Yeah. It's a different feeling. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So, what first sparked your interest in logistic industry, and how did the initial spark transform into professional calling?
As I said, I come from a Marwadi family, so there's a little bit of a funny story. I was supposed to go for accounting and finance because that's what the Marwadi business community or a family would do. So my older brother is also a chartered accountant. So I was actually trying to pursue chartered accountancy. But when I was in my university days, I used to go to my dad's office on the weekends, and I would see, he's talking of a lot of geographical maps, imports and exports, because he was working as a general manager imports for Xerox Corporation, and Xerox was a photocopier machine company and office automation, I would say. So they were bringing in a lot of these office automation machines from overseas. So he would talk of a lot of countries, a lot of customs rules, regulations to bring them into the country, and then a lot of dollars and all those things. So those things fascinated me a lot. Oh, this is interesting, because he used to travel a lot as well. So this will be more of an exposure for me to go out and in and out of the country and talking to the foreigners when I was pretty young. So yeah, that actually created an interest in me, rather than doing an accountancy and sitting in some office and all that, because I used to see my brother was working really hard, and when he was studying, and after that when he finished his CA also. Yeah, so I would say that's where I got interested into the foreign trade line.
Okay, so it's more that your father actually sparked the interest of you into this industry.
Yes, very much. Even till today also, because I feel he understands what I do so well, and he guides me even now also, professionally, spiritually, whatever you say, and then I share everything with him on the logistics side. Yeah.
Okay. So your father is still your biggest inspiration.
Oh yeah. He will always be my mentor and my inspiration, whatever you say. So I make a point that I share with him all my success and failures and everything. And I don't know, somehow he brings out some valuable insights of those successes or failures to me, and then I encash from there. But one piece of good advice that he gave me was that when I was going to his offices, and then after I was passing out my universities, he said, you must go to a real good foreign trade school to learn this trade, not just come out of graduation and start working on something. Yeah. So therefore I went to Indian Institute of Foreign Trade, IFT in Delhi, and that's where I was exposed to a lot of shipping documentation, challenges of shipping routes, customs, trade laws. Yeah, so I mean, he actually motivated me to go there and get a learning in the school theoretically, and then come into this line of foreign trade business.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Also, can you take us on a professional, can you take us on a journey through your career path, highlighting the pivotal moments, key roles and turning points?
So as I said, I started with a custom house broker, and I also was interested in doing some more qualification of the customs or related to these agencies. Getting a dangerous goods regulation license in my name, and which I did with Indian Airlines back then. And then I was also certified as a category G card holder, which is someone who has this authority from the Indian Customs House, can sign the shipping bills or the bill of entry. So basically he's an authorized person who can sign these documents. So before he becomes a Rule 9, or back then was Rule 9, the license holder, or Rule 8 now. So I got that position after passing through an exam. So those were really good achievements in the early days of mine. And then, when I joined companies like New Globe, and I didn't want to stay too long in the operations, I moved immediately myself into international marketing departments, so which made me travel all over the world. And I would say 6 months of the year I used to be out selling overseas, talking to the partners and stuff like that. Yeah, so that continued. And then one fine day, I was always thinking of moving myself to US, because it's the biggest of logistics industries, I would say. The volumes are huge. Every dot, I would say, on the global map today, or not today, back then also, would have some connections of business with US. So that was very interesting for me. So I wanted to plan and move. So I moved here in 2013. And since then I'm here with AJ Worldwide and into international sales and marketing and business development.
Mr. Sanjay, allow me, I'm just curious to know that how different is US market comparing to Indian market in the terms of freight forwarding or trade?
Uh, I was anyways coming to US since 2000. So while I was working in India, so I was lucky to have the taste of both the cultures and the logistics world, I would say. But yes, it is very different than Indian market. Not just on the payments and collections and all those, but also I would say importance is given to a logistics service provider. And infrastructure wise, obviously, this country is far ahead of India. And the volumes are huge. There's a lot of turnaround of businesses. It's not just once you have imported and you don't have to worry about for the next 6 months, because it's a fast moving consumption country, I would say. So there's a lot of movement in and out of the country. Use and throw is pretty common in US. So I used to see that can get us a lot of volume of business of not just hundreds of containers, but could be thousands of containers. So which is what can keep me a lot of time, busy in setting up the routes of the market, operation wise, setting up the trends and all those things. So which is why my reason of when I was still in my end of 30s or something, early 40s, I wanted to go to a place where I can expose myself to a larger economy and the volume, which is why I'm here in US.
Mr. Sanjay, you seem like a person who really enjoys logistics. So, what specific aspects of logistics you find most engaging and rewarding, and why is that?
I love it because I started with the custom house knowledge, operation knowledge. Then I moved myself immediately into international marketing. And I meet a lot of people all over the world, a lot of different cultures, a lot of languages, different languages, and the countries to travel. And then when you make connections with them, it's so exciting, You're not talking to your own set of culture of people, but if you can make connections with, let's say, somebody in Southeast Asia and Vietnam, you have no idea of that culture and people. But if you can make a friend out there, it's so interesting, that you have friends all over the world because of this logistics business. And I would say logistics is more like a relationship business. So we tend to feel like, oh, we are a part of the same family. And even though he's not from Indian roots, of which is my roots, but I have made connections all over the world as a family. So I like this part of this business, You have family all over the world, kind of. So interesting. Even though you don't speak the same language or eat the same food many times, but yes, you belong to one community. That's what interests me a lot.
Yeah, you make logistics sound so interesting. You bring in a lot of language, a lot of people inside it, and it feels alive and different. So so coming to your leadership roles, as a director for key accounts, what are the primary responsibilities you have within the organization, and which part brings you more satisfaction?
You know what? I do a lot of research. I would say market intelligence on the various shipping routes, various economies of the world, vis-a-vis with US. So based on those research, I set up then I go to the next step, which is the shipping routes, the trends of the prices, the trends of the business, or I would say the people in those countries, how to make connections. And then we find out the customers based on our capabilities and capacities, that's Asia worldwide, where are we good at and what are we good for, in whether it is in US office or in UK office. So I make those findings, research, and my team helps me in capitalizing this with the real-time data from various subscriptions that we have. And that excites me a lot. Okay, I need to focus on this country. I need to focus on this region now. So I find out the intelligence, the routes, the countries to pair with, and this data management team helps me in the real-time shipping data. And then we try to match them with our capabilities and then see, okay, now we are good with them and bring them into our pipeline and try to propose those customers. And then we come to a level where we can send them proposals for the inquiries that they would send us. So convert them into inquiries, and then if the inquiries are converted into business, that is such a great achievement, because you started from zero, nothing, and to where we are today. So, and that too, you're not dealing with the same country, maybe different countries. Yeah, so we spent a lot of time in those intelligence to the convertibility.
So you started your career, from scratch. So what was your role when you started your career in this industry, and how much years did it take you to reach as an director of key accounts in AJ Worldwide?
Yeah, when I started, as I said, I was into operations because I wanted to learn the trade. So I would, cut the air bills. I would make the delivery orders for the inbound shipments. I would make the bill of ladings. I would personally go and deliver those bill of ladings to the customers, or release the delivery orders to the customers, brokers of the customers. And so I would like hands-on it, typing myself a lot of things, or preparing a delivery order on the dot matrix thing. So I was always sitting. But I guess this is where the start was. I was lucky that my bosses, my superiors saw me that I could talk well with the customers, or not just cutting the documentation and going back to home, 9 to 5 job. So they pulled me out of the operations and they asked me to come and travel with us and now start talking to the customers face to face, rather than your documentation is speaking. So then I went into the international marketing, met a lot of overseas agents worldwide, or the real customers, importers and exporters in those countries or in India. So then I didn't have a stop, and I was always in the business development. And then I went into the not just going finding things by myself or meeting myself. Then I started doing a lot of intelligence work into researching about the market that I need to go for, because back now then I have a team to look after the routine works. So yeah, coming from operations to the international business development into the sales marketing, that is very, very interesting and for me. And then as a director key account, I follow up on the very VIP customers who are giving us some sizable volume of business, quantity wise and also the revenue wise. So I focus on those, retaining it and trying to develop those kind of people, customers for our company.
What are some personal leadership mantras or philosophy that you live by?
I believe in learning. I think I am a good listener and a good learner, and I would always say to everybody: before you speak, let the person who is sitting in front of you should speak and listen to him. Probably you can have a good idea about it. And so yeah, learning and listening is very, very important for me. Before you even talk, think smart, how to convey what you want to convey. So I like to learn and read and listen to the people first. So that's what I would say.
So listening is your philosophy, to become a great leader.
I would say yes. And it was once quoted by Mr. Barack Obama, President of USA, and he said, I would like to listen to the guy who disagree with me the most. So, which means that he doesn't want to keep talking to and explaining his situation or position or his point to the guy who disagrees, but he wants to listen to the guy why he's disagreeing with me the most. So that's very exciting note that he said once, and I really go by with that.
Okay. So how do you set, communicate and measure performance goals or KPIs for your key accountants?
So as I said in the beginning, in one of your questions, that market intelligence is very important. That's what I do it and my team does it. So they help in finding out the customers, they fill up the pipeline, and then they engage themselves with those customers through various subscriptions of the intelligence that we have. And then once the pipeline is full, and then we bring them to the inquiry stage. And once the inquiries are converted into a business, then I see how much volume we are generating with those customers. So I like to see this through a lot of applications that we have in our company. At the same time, once this data is entered into our system, I also want to visit and discuss in person with my team who had been working on this, just to see like what they want to say, not what they have entered into the system, what their emotions are about the customers that they think. Because I may see a customer who's bringing, let's say, 500 containers a month, but and that's the data that my team has entered, and what the volume wise is pretty good. But if the route of that 500 containers is very close to me, let's say from Mexico to US, or it's by road, it's not very exciting for me, I would say. Had it been coming, let's say, from China or Southeast Asia to US, so we have more volume, same volume, but with a larger number of shipping prices, so the margins could be better. I can add some more value to the business. So I like to listen to those guys once they feed the data into the system. So then I measure their performances, how we are doing with those kind of opportunities.
So what techniques do you use to motivate and inspire your team, especially during challenging times?
In the challenging time, I would say I would sit down with the team right away and take the things on my chin myself. I pull up the sleeves, I sit down with them, make the plan, and it's a collective plan of everybody. And if it is a good success, yes, it's everybody's success. And if it is a failure, then I would like to lead it from the front. And so everybody likes that I'm always involved. And I'm glad that I was always in the operations in the beginning of my career. So, I could relate myself, yes, what problems are these? And since I travel so much, so I can help them and bring them those guidance, how to solve these problems, since I know the culture and people or the customs of those different countries. So, yes, and so sharing the knowledge, sitting down with them, head to head or shoulder to shoulder, it's very, very important and encouraging for everybody. And we all love it.
Yeah, so that's true. So every leader has to start from the scratch so they can understand what every team member really goes through. So what 3 key pieces of advice would you offer to ambitious professionals aiming to develop the skills needed for leadership roles in logistics?
I would say, as I said also in the beginning, that they have to be a good listener, good learner. And in today's world, things are moving really, really fast. I would say AI, which is coming up these days, which will be much, much larger than the internet, what we had seen. A lot of things will be done through them. And these young generation people are very, very hands on it. And so I would say, but at the same time, they have to be a good listener. And if they are a good listener, good learner, I guess they can articulate that into their technological and their pace, which they are good at. So I guess that's also very important for these young generation, to be patient enough to listen to the requirement and then convert it into a technology or an automation, and to give the right result needed, instead of going back and forth and changing the systems again and again because you didn't listen, you didn't know what the problem is or what the requirement is. Yeah, I would say these couple of things important.
So what are the hard and soft skills do you believe are essential for achieving success in the logistic industry?
Very interesting question, by the way. You're drilling me out, but it's very, very valuable question, I would say. Yeah, hard skills, we are in a business which is in international commerce. We deal with a lot of laws, not just the international law, but also the state law, the federal law of the country. And so we have to put our foot down many times with a lot of customers and a lot of projects, because certain things we cannot do. So those are really hard stops for us. And in a country like US, it's not just the federal or the state law, but there are the different norms for each counties also. So we have to be very, very careful about these things. But other hard skills, I would say, is the technological efficiency. Logistics softwares have to be very, very accurate and good about it. Digital analysis, database systems, and in our business, which is 3PL, warehouse and inventory management is very, very important and crucial, because you have a lot of $1 million worth of inventories in your stuff in your warehouses. So you have to have a very fine and softwares, technological advancement. So you cannot compromise with any small IT tools or something. You have to be very, very careful about. So those are really hard stuffs for us. We cannot compromise. We have to go for it. In the soft skills, I would say it's also, as I said, logistics is more of a relationship. So a lot of crisis management you have to do, a lot of time management you have to do, interpersonal skills, I would say, and bringing out those professionals from the supply chain complexities, I would say. So those are soft skills, I think I would say about it.
So what was your biggest challenge or setback that you faced in your career, and how did you overcome that?
Another good question. I would say when I moved from India to US, even though I was traveling back and forth US, but traveling, which is checking in, check out, is different than when you start living it here. And that too with the family. Now you have to make your living here. So, but I wasn't, going to any third world country or something, but I knew this country so well for such a long time since I was traveling already. But yes, as I said, living was and touring is different. So, and I said in the beginning also, with the logistics, I could make a lot of connections worldwide. So when I came to US, I approached immediately. I informed everybody that this is where I am right now. Let's say from South America to the Southeast Asia, and everybody welcomed my move, and they immediately responded with some business opportunities. I was so lucky and excited about it. And that's where I started from it. And it didn't take me long, but maybe a year or two, that I was trying to connect the dots here and there. But once it was on, in 2013, as I said, I came here, and 15 end or early 16, I started going out. So my base was set. So it's all happened because of the connections that I had. But yes, it was not easy those 2 years. Moving from one culture, one country to, the biggest economy in the world.
So what unique advantage does the Indian exporters gain when shipping to the US or UK compared to other global markets?
The Indian community, or whether it is the freight forwarders or the shippers, they felt little comfortable because I am someone from their community. I was in US, so they can relate me so well. And since I already had an experience of working in India, so they would approach me with the sense, hey Sanjay, you already know this, right? Okay, so help me out with this situation and problems. So, but yes, and doesn't mean that I can go any sideways. So I have to look at my US rules, regulations as well, and also the fundamentals this country is living with. But yes, they could relate me as I was part of them, and that motivated them and helped them in many successes, I would say, the shippers or the forwarders in India. Yeah, because I was part of them.
So as you were, from here, India, and you started, your career there as well. So it was very easy for you to understand both the cultures or business setups. I think it is quite easy for you to, be there and start a business, right?
Yes.
How does your organization support freight forwarders in India who doesn't have an office in US or UK? What is the USP of your organization in that context?
Very good. In fact, this is how I started as well. So there are many small, medium-sized freight forwarders in India, and the big ones also. And apart from these global freight forwarders who had gone to India and started operating back in 90s. So what I bring value to these freight forwarders is that I invite them to come to US, and if they have any prospects, I travel with them, visit the customers. I would say do the consignee sales call with them, like as if their own US office. So we empower those guys in India. Hey, even if you don't have any setup or an office in the US, we are not just your agent or an overseas partner, but believe in me as if they're your own company here. So we go hand in hand together to meet the customers either in US, or when I go and travel to India, I empower them that I came from US, so I can handle any kind of question that your shippers or consignees in India would have for US, so to say. So yeah, it's a great partnership that I spend time with, and I make sure that I go out with those guys, or when they come here on the roads for 2-3 days. We make the sales campaign for various cities in US or various cities in India. So not just selling or quoting the rates by emails or by the systems, but also going with them and talking to their customers or prospects. Likewise, when they come here, they meet our consignees and customers in US, and I, let these guys speak more about India, because things have changed a lot from India also. So my customers here in US also feels empowered. Okay, there is someone locally from the ground has come here to meet me. So that's interesting.
So you seem like a person who likes to network a lot. So I wanted to hear some interesting story from you. So have you faced any recent or a very profound challenge in your company that you remember of, and how did you come out of the challenge, and what was the setback?
I wouldn't say it was a challenge, but yes, there is one good story that I was trying to do something, but then which we did and became a great success story. In India, the e-commerce was booming like a few years ago, I would say 10 years ago. And the Made in India was growing up in India. Every sellers in India wanted to sell into a bigger market like Europe or maybe US. And not because there are not so much of fluctuations in the business model. So, and I was seeing this opportunity. And Asia Worldwide was always a traditional freight forwarders into 3PL services, whether it is air, ocean and all. But we grew up in logistics into e-commerce logistics also, so to say, in the last 6-7 years. And I was seeing this opportunity with the Indian sellers who wants to sell either on their online stores or their websites or on various marketplaces like Amazon, Walmart. So I was seeing this opportunity coming up. And I went back and forth and partnered with some really great companies in India who were focusing on, or who wanted to do expansions into e-commerce logistics. Unlike I would say, the global integrators like DHL and FedEx. So we tied up with one company like ourselves, and we built up this e-commerce platform, and where they can ship the goods, and I can bring the value addition there, in which these sellers in India, if they want to sell, let's say on Amazon, and Amazon, it's not a buyer, it's a marketplace. So there were challenges for these sellers in India how to ship the goods to US, and without a consignee, without a buyer, because they were selling to these marketplaces. So I gave them the know-how of the import regulations in US, that you being a seller or a shipper in an overseas country can still import the goods into US, countries like US, and become an IOR, importer on record, and then we can move your goods to Amazon or any marketplaces that you want to, whether it is Walmart and all. That was a big door opening for these sellers. Without having a virtual office, without having a company in US, they could still export to US, and that too without having a consignee or a standard buyers. And then we made this as a big story. In fact, all the sellers, we tied up with almost like 200 plus sellers in India, and to be their custom brokers in US. And then I expanded this into our warehousing and distribution services, that I was promoting and training these sellers in India and my partner, that they can use my 3PL facility to bring their goods into US, consolidate everything into one location, and then we will do the deconsolidations and send it to various marketplaces of Amazon FCs, I would say, their fulfillment centers. And if the seller wants to sell, let's say on other marketplaces, they need not to send the goods to the Amazon FCs. They can send it to my location, and then they can sell the goods on any marketplaces, whether it is JD.com, Walmart or Amazon, those kind of. And that was again a very exciting for all these sellers. So the challenges were like, we as an Asia Worldwide never had an e-commerce logistics. We opened it, and then the challenge was like, who's the right partner for this in India? How can we connect ourselves to Amazon India? So we found out a good partner there who was also focusing on e-commerce. So we all came together and make this as a big success. And we were so lucky, and in fact our performance spoke about it, that Amazon even allowed us to send the goods only to one of their locations, not to the so many locations of Amazon. So that saved a lot of domestic trucking costs to the sellers in India because of our performance and consistency in delivering the goods to Amazon locations. So instead of sending goods to, let's say, 10, 50 locations in US, the Indian sellers can send it to one Amazon locations, and then Amazon internally will distribute it to the various locations. So that was a big challenge we had it, but we had to overcome it. And then with our performance and consistency in service.
E-commerce is blooming in India and accelerating digital freight adoption. How does this trend affect India, US or UK trade lines?
Yes, India is, I would say India's middle income or families or the class is growing rapidly and has the youngest population in the world. I guess the 30 to 35% of India's population is pretty young. So a lot of penetration into internet is happening. So there is a need, there is a demand for various services and goods to be sourced online, which definitely helps the business houses, I would say, in countries like US and UK. And so there is a need for speed, fast efficiency in the logistics to serve these kind of demands. And with the India and UK FTA recently signed, it's going to smoothen the trade, the barriers, customs formalities, and the tariffs also. Not just tariff, but also the smoothen the trades. So there is going to be a lot of inflow of services requirement. So therefore, you cannot just do manual, so it has to be digitized. So not just a track and trace, but also finding the best shipping outputs, optimization of the shipping routes, and the prices, so that everything is in the hand of the consumer and he can click a button and then get the prices or get the best shipping outputs that he needs. Not to forget, like US, which is a very big into domestic transportation market, India has expanded a lot into modernizing their highways, their rail terminals, ports, and to cope up with the requirement of the e-commerce, I would say, as fast as possible. So therefore there is a need for a lot to be done into digital ways and modernizing the infrastructure, just like how this is done in US as well.
So Mr. Sanjay, freight forwarding or logistics per se is one of the oldest industry. And how fast do you think this industry is, adapting to digitalization or bringing AI integration?
Oh, it is growing really fast, and you cannot make any, you cannot achieve the global or the voluminous business that you are looking for if you're not automated. AI will definitely be much bigger than the internet, I would say. And so people like us in this industry are consolidating, spending a lot on our servers, datas, so that we can, at a click of a button, we can reach to mass number of people or the community. And a lot of applications we are digitizing instead of doing manual emails. And so email is now called as a manual, but yes, so we don't need to depend on those person to send emails or receive emails and stuff like that. So yes, so we are putting a lot of efforts on intelligence to filter those requirements, to filter those output that we need to send back to the customers, so that we don't need to wait for a person to do this.
So thank you for sharing that with us. So you being one of the most resourceful person in the industry, as you have a lot of years experience, so has any books, articles or resource profoundly shaped your professional capabilities or leadership approach, particularly in the logistics?
Yes, and I would say I read a book, and I was also fortunate enough to meet Mark Miller, and who wrote his book on the global ecosystem of the logistics. And I was lucky to get his signature also in the book, and he gave it to me. And it talks about a lot of complexities in the logistics system, and with what is coming in, as I was saying about automations. So it helps a lot of leaders, innovators to plan themselves what it was, what is it coming. There was another book that I read, which is very New York's best-selling book, Atomic Habits by James Clear, and that impacted a lot to me. I would say it was small changes, but amazing outcomes that you need to do in your day-to-day life. I mean, anybody can read that book, not just the professional, but even I gave it to my son also to read it, to bring some changes in the life, just in case. Yeah, some of the books that I read. Yeah, I love reading, not a lot, but yes, sometimes.
So you seem like a person, who has a lot of suggestions about books. So were you always a reader, or did you pick up this habit anywhere in the middle?
No, I was never a good reader, no. But since you travel so much, right? So you have long flights, how much you can watch or clear your emails and look at your office things and etc., or watch the TVs. So I fall in love with these books, and I started reading them. Not a long time ago, but yes, for the last 5-6 years. And I also collect the books that I read and I like it, so I buy them and I keep it with me.
Okay. So, as you seem like a jack of all trades. So how do you approach work-life balance or ensure personal well-being while fulfilling your responsibility as a leader?
It's very interesting. Our business logistic is very, very challenging, since we are dealing with a lot of people in the world, a lot of cultures and communities, and if one is shut, the other one is open. So you're always up and running and expecting something to happen at somewhere in the global. But I do enjoy the sports and music, two things that I think any professional should always be doing to keep yourself fit and also keep your head cool with the music. So I play badminton for a Chinese club in US, and I used to play badminton during my college and school days also back in India. But then obviously with the requirement of the work, it slowed down. But when I came to US, I found some time and I signed up with the club and I play for them. So it's like twice a week I play, and and I'm really enjoying that thing. I get to connect a lot of people, and obviously I play with my age group kind of people. So it also helps me in connecting and listening to the other side of the stories of people not from the logistic but banking or management or ITs or whoever it is. And singing is listening, and music and also singing is also one of my favorite hobbies, I would say. So I love listening and singing as well. And at the same time, every day 45 to 50 minutes walk with my wife is very important, I feel, whenever I'm in town, and I do that religiously. So it's a good stress buster for me, listening to her stories and stuff like that, and not talking about me, but also sharing my professional and other stuff as well to her. Is like, somebody's there to listen to you, and then maybe she can help me, or even as a good listener is good for me. Yeah, I try to do all those things as well.
Okay. You seem really like a jack of all trades. You're like everywhere, right? Okay. So, as it's very common that people have this idea that logistic works 24/7, what boundaries have you established, such as fixed work hours, offline times, no email zones, and how do you protect your productivity and peace of mind?
Yeah, I mean, this business really requires you up all the time, whether it is in the morning or in the evening or late nights. So I have observed over a period of time that it's not good to be connected all the time. You don't need to. And you can always put some things to a time, and then let other also to think about it and come to you. So you don't need to be connected all the times. You, at a position where I am right now, you need to come to a point, you need to involve where the homework is done, so you can add to it. So it doesn't mean that you have to get involved all the times. So when you don't need to be. So I try to keep balance. I don't believe in 9 to 5 job, but yes, And if there is a need that I need to be up at 6 a.m. to connect somebody in Southeast Asia, I would do that. But if there is no need, then I don't want to be up in the morning and checking my email, checking my WhatsApp, checking my WeChats and all those things. So I have created a distance, and I have seen that it doesn't impact a lot. It's still good and works really good for me.
Yes. So I think you even made this process of connecting with you smoother through this virtual interview. So, what key advice would you share with the next generation people, freshers who are seeking their career in logistics?
Oh, beautiful. I'm still a learner, as I said. I like to learn and listen to the veterans and the people, not just the veterans, but also my co-workers or somebody who is always in the desk. But yes, what I would say is you got to be a good learner, good listener, and patient, fully listening to someone, and don't react or don't act, and spend a lot of time on research rather than doing and executing the things. Because if you spend more time on the research, you know how the execution has to be done, rather than you think a little bit and going to the execution, and then you come back to research again. Hey, you didn't fix it right, or you couldn't anticipate the problems can come. So yes, the key advice is good learning, good listening, and spend time on the research. But at the same time, you got to be on the ground as well, because we deal with a lot of complicated policies of the governments with various countries, and vis-a-vis their relationship with the US. And so the economic study, the business study, the customs trade regulation study is very, very important, because then only you can handle the situation, or you can guide the customers also. So yes, on ground, we got to be knowing these things as well. But at the same time, this new generation, they are very, very fast on the IT and automation side. So technological savvy is, I don't even have to say about it, they are more about it. But yes, going in from internet to AI, so they are evolving really quick. And we hire a lot of freshers in our company, and I see the way they grow. They move the things faster, much, much faster. But yes, I always keep telling them that you got to be at the ground as well. Listen to what we are saying and listen to what the plan is all about, and then help us in executing it technologically. Yeah, some of these advices, I guess, or suggestions I can make to the younger people.
Okay. Thank you so much. So with that, we have come to the end of today's Spotlight episode. And I really enjoyed having you and, sharing all your insights. And it was truly inspiring and very simplified. So thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on your show. I really enjoy a lot of sessions that you guys do. So I was looking forward to it one day. And I guess today was my lucky day. Thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning in today's Spotlight. In today's episode, we had a lot of insightful learning, even from miles away. And it's very astonishing. People around the world, how do they work for the industry and what is their contribution? This seems like a very simple industry, but the faces behind it and the heroes behind it are enormous, and the efforts and the stories are so great. If you want to know more about what is happening behind the screen of the industry, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Logistics Spotlight. Thank you.